Welcome, everyone. Great to have you all and have energy of having us all together. So I say that with much gratitude because we're in a very different place a year ago. So wonderful to have us all together. And again, welcome and welcome to the folks on Zoom. Do you have anybody on Zoom, Melissa?
We have 6 people.
All righty. Welcome to the 6 people on Zoom. We're glad you're with us. Just a couple of housekeeping things. Make sure that you signed in. This is one of the ways that we're going to keep track of volunteer hours because our grants require that we have matches for much of what we do, and our sponsors want us to know that we're doing the work that we say we're going to do. And this is one where we can keep track of it is by who attends our meetings, right? So we're going to keep track of it that way. There's also a form here to sign for image release because we take pictures and we do things that we want to get again out on social media, let people know what we're doing. So if you could sign this, it would be great. I will pass this around. For those of you that have not signed it online, please do. Any questions about that, by the way? Just want to make sure that you're clear on that. On the table, you'll notice some quote cards that say who we are. This is a great way to welcome the people in your neighborhood or re-engage with people in your neighborhood by letting them know about us and what we do, what our purpose is, etc. People interested in these cards want some of these? Great. They're here at the table. The other thing that's here are the zone, what I call the zone cards. Because it on the front page of this, you can write in the zone, the evacuation zone for your community or the people that you're in contact with. Some of you may have communities with more than one evacuation zone, so you need to kind of pay attention there. If you're in a rural community in particular, you may be covering a large area and have some different evacuation zones. The other thing you want to do is write in your name and your community name, and that's another great way to welcome people. On the back are some resource phone numbers, emergency resource number. Take a chunk of these and go out with them and spread the word. What else? We have a flyer for the Nashville Comes to Sonoma County, which I'm sure Doug will tell us more about in our announcements. If you did not get a coat notebook from the Christmas party, please take one. This is our way of thanking you for being a coat leader. And I will think Nancy's got the shaped out flyer for people. This is coming up in April. And I think that's all we've got on the table. And then wonderful refreshments that Diane brought. Please participate in that. All right, we're gonna do a quick round robin of who's here today. We're gonna do this quickly. So who you are, what community you represent. How's that sound? Anything else? Good. That's good enough for now. Yep.
Okay, I'm Diane Urban. My community is West Soda Rock. We are currently a firewise community. So if any of you are interested in doing that, and just accomplish that at the end of the year, Marshall work with us on that. And really kind of experience with the community. So that was excellent. We're also in the middle of the recipient of a CAL FIRE grant right now. That's some vegetation management, roadside work that's going on. So I've been involved in that, and there's steps with that. Barbara Lannon and Annika also are involved with that, and we're learning how that works in terms of getting your community engaged and signing waivers. All that.
Yeah, so that was a grant that we acquired through Copenhagen and Sonoma County.
Yes,
Just to let you know, that was good.
So it's CAL FIRE funds through code.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm passing around, there's several clipboards here today. I have the clipboard I have, we are looking for volunteers for the Hillsburg Fire and Earthquake Safety Expo. That's a version of the on the off year of the northern or the Sonoma County Hillsburg is doing one this year. It's on May 6th. Coke is a sponsor, and we have a table. We'll be, we're asking people to volunteer at our table, as well as, we have, provide some data volunteers the way we do at One Country to the Rescue. So if you're able to volunteer on that day, if you could put your name, the other information, put your availability. Already, in addition, before the actual event, they're looking for people to distribute flyers to businesses in different towns. Susie and I have volunteered already to help. And so if anybody else is able to do that, if you could let me know.
Okay, so she's mixing in announcements with, so you have an announcement, go ahead and say it.
Oh.
Diane, Meadows. Just starting, I have 8 neighborhood leaders. And we keep their folder of whom they are responsible for in their neighborhood. We just started the filling out the information. So. The chart was from, be online, oh, she is, okay, so, anyway, she wasn't able to make it.
Yay, excellent. Thank you. I'm Priscilla Abercrombie. I'm chair of the board of Hope Northern Sonoma County, and Diane is also one of our board members and secretary. I am from Fitchmount Hope, and I have a couple of announcements as well. What are they? That's our diorama. Hope Northern Sonoma County diorama. It's really fun to do with Nancy and my husband Pat. This will be at our exhibit tables as a way to have conversation with folks around defensible space and home hardening. So that's going to be kind of our focus at most of our events. The other thing I wanted to say was please fill out the Coke leader survey. It's really important for us to know that we have all your contact information up to date. It's another way to also do the image reviews. What else do I want to say? Do you know that we have Taco Tuesdays? No. Are you aware of Taco Tuesday? Yeah, well, some people are so excited they come a week early.
Yeah.
So our next Taco Tuesday is the 4th of April. Please come. It's just an informal get together. We are meeting at Agave. I'm hoping we can do that outside next time. What do we have? 20 people last time. 12 people. There was a lot of margaritas. First time. So we will be early. It's like 5:30.
And the date, I'm sorry, it's for what?
For
The first Tuesday. Got it. Of each month.
Yep, first Tuesday every month. I would imagine we'll go to a bigger venue eventually. Everybody is so excited about Taco Tuesday, am I right?
Yeah.
Right. All right, all right, and I saw the climate expos coming up. Is somebody else gonna talk about that?
I think also is.
Okay, excellent. So we'll talk about that in a couple minutes. We're gonna focus on smoke ready at that, and I'll help you get ready for that. I found this quote and I just wanted to share it with you. You know how I like to do that, right? We're that way. So here's the quote. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And that's Reverend Howard Thurman, who was an American clergy mystic kind of civil rights person from 1900 to 1981. Pretty cool guy. So I just wanted to share that with you because sometimes I see these quotes and I go, you know, this is what we do. This is our work, right? We're passionate about it and makes a difference in the world that we live in. So wanted to recognize that.
I'm Diana Borges, a board member and with Windsor Coke. And I do have a few announcements. First about there's some activities in Windsor happening. So even if you don't live in Windsor, if you have friends, you could pass on the information. So the town, fire and police, along with Coke, are putting on an all hazard presentation, 3 different opportunities. We already did the first one. The next one is March 30th at Clerk Gym. Then last one was April 27th at the Senior Center. And it's from 5:30 to 6:30. And there's also a Zoom link that we will put an event on our Facebook page that you also email if you guys want to attend. The other thing is,
I think it's on our calendar as well, right? On our calendar, on the code page.
On the website.
right, okay. The other thing is on Mother's Day, May 14th, from 9 to 12. We're gonna have a safety fair along with the firefighters pancake breakfast. There'll be booths and things like that, so you're welcome, actually anyone's welcome to come, it's just a fair that everyone can do, so you can definitely tell your friends and Windsor about that. The other thing is, we have scheduled our second webinar for April 26th from 5 to 6 o'clock. And the flyers here, if you want a copy of the flyer, I have some here you can take. You can give it to your neighbors. We'll also be sending out digital copies through the meeting, and it's also on will be on our Facebook page. This one, actually, we have Judith from the California Geological Survey. She's gonna be talking about earthquake risk and the history of earthquakes. Nancy and Dory from the county will be talking about sheltering in place, and then also Dory will be talking about how to retrofit your home. She has some ideas on
Ways to finance, record
finance, so some tax credits and things like that. And then I'll be talking about some practical things of how to secure your bookcase and things like that, so. It'll be through Zoom, and that information is on here also on our web. And Facebook page, so if you guys want a copy, you can take it, but like I said, it will be digital also. The only other thing was to give you a little more information on the expo at Hillsborough. They are looking for, in addition to passing out the flyers to the businesses, one thing they're really looking for the day of is to help with parking and directions and things like that. But they also will need greeters and things. If you sign up, we will pass your information on to Denny. He's heading up the expo this year, and then he will be contacted.
Cool, thank you.
For Cove, we'll be in touch.
Yeah, for the table. This is for the actual expo itself.
Hi, I'm Monica Munoz Torres, and I'm the lead for the Milford Cove. And this is a very unprecedented term, because I don't have any announcements, but it's really nice to meet most everybody. That's good.
Good morning.
Hi, my name is Donna Shaker. I'm with the Burrell Smith Port Code. And I also am a code board member.
I'm Nancy Brown. I'm the Community Preparedness Program Manager for Sonoma County's Department of Emergency Management, and also board member.
Pat Abercrombie, Fitch Mountain. Where I guess one announcement is Fitch is really embracing the radios as kind of following in Susie's footsteps. Cold Spring. We're now regularly for a few months now doing semi-monthly check-ins. And we have anywhere from 10 to 12 folks checking in every time on our radios, and happy to talk to anybody that's thinking about implementing something like that. Priscilla didn't mention the diorama has a good side and a bad side. I did the bad side. Intention.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some leaves around. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah. White line down the middle. Good and evil.
Nice to see everybody. I'm Monica Seeley, and I can't believe the good fortune I have to have the same name as Marshall's wife.
All the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Spelled the same way. One of these days, I would like to meet her. Barbara Landon and I are co-leaders of the Play on Drive community, and I couldn't do this work without Barbara.
So I'm Barbara.
And Diane already referenced the fact that we are also the very fortunate recipient of a grant to do more vegetation management. I think people are aware that several, during the Kincaid fire, we had fire up on Boyan.
Saved our butt
Yeah,
on Richmond.
they did it. Now we are very active as a community and have done a lot of vegetation management, like goat grazing and everything up there, but all funded by the neighborhood. And this is a huge boon for us because our neighbors are kind of, I can't contribute too much more here. So we're very much looking forward to having Marshall's crew out there to work further on our on access and evacuation. And we met with the two supervisors, but haven't had the crew out yet. So we're excited about that coming in. Then, as much as we're happy about the rain for every other reason, it's delayed at least when we thought we would start, but we're looking forward to it very much.
Hey, just to piggyback on that, so what happens is these guys that are co-leaders, and in fact, there are 3 communities involved in this CAL FIRE grant. Pitch Mountain has a small area up on Madrone, which is really one of our high-risk areas in Pitch Mountain. The job of the co-leader, just so you know, when we get these grants, is really to help be the ombudsman for the grant. So that's the person getting consent from landowners, really getting buy-in from people and being the communication. So when Marshall says, hey, we're coming out in 2 weeks, it's the co-leaders who really get the message out there and let people know what's going on. So when you get these grants, that's kind of your responsibility as a community to get that information. So many thanks to the co-leaders who are doing that work, getting that information.
And keeping track of our hours, right?
Yeah, you need those hours.
A lot of hours.
Hey, I'm Mary Ann McBride. I'm with Council on Aging. My goal is to connect as many seniors as possible with COPE groups so that they are less isolated. I'm also serve on the board of directors, and I'm on the bad side of that. I have, as we speak, I'm doing my own mitigation today. I have a huge oak tree that got a little too heavy when the snows hit in Cloverdale, and it's leaning over my house. So it's being worked on today.
Jeff Peters, Asty Cloverdale, Hope, and also with CERT. We got a bunch of stuff going on. I'll add one minor point to the Hillsburg Expo. So you understand, we started that in Cloverdale. We ran it 2 years in Cloverdale. And at the same time, the county asked us to expand CERT throughout the entire county. And we couldn't manage to do both. So Hillsburg took over and said they would alternate with us every other year. So 2023 is Hillsburg, 2024 is Cloverdale, and back and forth, which makes things a little bit more manageable. We also are doing a fundraiser to try to raise more money for CERT, as well as the Cloverdale Senior Center. That's our equal partner in the deal. And I hope you'll all take the opportunity to tell the people in your neighborhood, buy a ticket. If they want cheap seats, they can bring a blanket. If they want chairs, they're gonna have to pay a little bit more. And if they want to really support the 2 charities, then they can buy the VIP tickets. And get a chef dinner, dessert, and mingle with the Nashville singer-songwriter performers. We're very lucky that we have 3 Nashville artists that are contributing their time and energy. 2 of them are in the Songwriter Hall of Fame, so they actually have their plaque on the Wyman Auditorium in Nashville. And then one of them just recently was inducted as a poet laureate with Loretta Lynn for Nashville Country Music Association. So they're all serious people, but we managed to get them to come to Sonoma County on the same day. And so we're gonna have an outdoor Under the Stars concert. And it's gonna be kind of fun. So I hope everybody will attend. And, we're working on 4 different grants. One of which Marshall and I believe is probably gonna happen in the next month. Which is $7.4 million in vegetation management in the Cloverdale Fire District. But we have 3 others that are not as far along. That we're all hoping are gonna become, real. Get granted. Yeah, and we will announce them when the time comes, because I don't want to jinx it.
Great. And Jeff is also a board member.
Yeah.
Susie,
Wait, I have one, as far as the Nashville comes to Sonoma County, it has its own Facebook page. So if those of you on Facebook can please like it and then share the flyer and things to everyone else, we can get the word out there. Be great.
I'm Susie Cummings, and my group is under the radar, but it's the Del Webb community, and so they don't know their code. I'm chair of the emergency committee there, which is serves the board, which is difficult sometimes. But we get along, we're working on it. But I did want to say that we did have some success in getting some vegetation management done in Clover Springs. Marshall, thank you for, there were a whole group of people who came on a tour in August, and the association has taken on some responsibility itself to do some vegetation management at the end of, on the southwest corner of Clover Springs, and some property that the association owns and should have been maintaining for 20 years. And they are starting to do some. A little bit there, so that's, I really feel like there's some hope. Great in that regard.
good for you. I know you did a lot to make that happen. Jim,
Jim Dreisbach, I'm with Bowler Ready Coat, our group that's been around for a while. We got an early start on this. We cover quite a large area because we're rural. And if you're familiar with the area at all, we started at Sweetwater Springs on West Side Road. We head south and we go clear down to almost to Hacienda, and then over across Bowler Bridge up East Side Road to the Shone Farm. So we don't have that many people, but we've got a big area we cover. We have a lot of commercial operations there, all the wineries and section of West Side Road, but everybody's been very cooperative. The wineries have done a lot of work in our area for vegetation management. The Gallo property, which is the McMurray Ranch, has worked with the Energizer Bunny at the other end of the road area, to do a lot of work in our area, and had a good response in that respect. We're actually meeting with Nelson on Thursday. Our area leaders are going to meet with her, and we're going to plan our next meeting, which is probably going to take place in May. So we're moving along. Good work. So
I'm Susan Cancel, and co-leader along with Nancy Evans on Scenic Lane, which is at the northeast part of Hillsburg. Vegetation management has been a real issue in our area, but love them or hate them, PG&E has come in and they have just gotten rid of dead trees, gotten rid of things that are around the line and stuff. I couldn't be happier because there were so many people on that street that were kicking and shouting not to ever do anything, and it had to be done, and it got done, so yay. So what we couldn't do, they did. So it's been really, I've been very happy about that. And I've got some new neighbors in the neighborhood who are very interested, and starting to get them on board as well. So yeah.
PG&E has been earning a lot of money.
I know.
Yeah. I'm Jerry Lazarevsky, and I was active in the inception of COPE, but I've been MIA the last year. I've been down in Millbrae taking care of my new granddaughter. My son and daughter-in-law are just too busy. But now that they're a year old, I'm back, and I'm very anxious to start again. My area is Hidden Acres, which is a small subdivision at the base of Fitch Mountain.
and Jer's gonna get into our fern, our radio
Yeah.
group. So we're starting to cover, we're expanding. It's very interesting. We're going around the mountain now, so it's fun to see that happen.
Marshall, I represent everybody. Good to be back in person. Everyone said everything I wanted to say.
Okay, we forgot one, so I'll say it for the examples, happily you. What's it called, the University of California Agricultural and Natural Resources, an affiliation with a group called Conservation Works, used to be called North Coast Resource Conservation Development Council. They put together a grant and applied for one of the wildlife prevention grants program from Cal Fire. And so we supported the letter and gave them a letter of support and asking everybody to cross your fingers with us. Hopefully they'll get some funds, and if that comes to fruition, then we'll have funds for vegetation management, a group of grazing goats to come through the area. Specifically, we put, thanks to Marshall's assessment, we put for consideration an area through Wallace Creek, so from Milk Creek Road towards Wallace Creek until it becomes a private driveway. So yeah, so cross your fingers with that.
Yeah, West Side's in on that too.
Mhm.
West Side's great.
Okay, this one you just wrote.
No, this is definitely our side.
Oh, okay, yeah, got it. Cool. Great, good to see. Elsa, back there's Elsa.
Hi, everyone. I think most of you already know me. I'm Elsa Cavazos. I'm the Community Outreach Specialist for Cove, North and Sonoma County and North and Sonoma County Fire. I do have an announcement. We are gonna have a booth at the Healdsburg Climate Fest on April 22nd at the Healdsburg Plaza, and we are looking for volunteers. It's from 1 to 4. If anyone would like to join and sign up, let me know. And if you would like a card of mine, also let me know. You can email me, text me, call me or beat me. So, thank you.
Are you gonna introduce the people that are online? Oh.
They work on the second of their climate festival.
Yeah.
Earth Day,
Saturday.
and we're gonna focus on Smoke Ready for that. Seems like the right thing to do.
Hi. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. This is Randy Varney from the BRAC Big Ridge Chemise Cope Group. I'm here with Holly Wilson, who is also a member. And we spoke a little bit at the last meeting, and so I don't really have a big update or anything like that, but I do have a question, and if anybody knows the answer. PG&E is turning off our power on April 3rd to do maintenance, but I don't know if that's supposed to be vegetation management maintenance or if it has anything to do with fire prevention or anything like that. And then if anybody knows the answer, I'd love to know.
So Randy, all I can say is we've had ours turned off twice now, and they leave it very us in the letter, right? They don't tell you anything. So
Right.
once was for a transformer and another time for a new pole. So
Do you know if it was to prevent or to help keep them from starting another fire?
no idea.
It's a touchy subject, I know. Anyway, that's it for me.
And I'm Holly Wilson up on Big Ridge Road.
Hi, Holly.
Hi.
I'm Shar Nordstrom. I'm with Diane Harris. I'm co-leader of Westview Meadows COPE. And as she was saying earlier, we're just getting started and getting all our information from neighbors. So that's about all I have to say. I have a question for later, but for now, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe you want to ask a question now. Might be a good time before we launch into our activity for today.
Okay, well, I have contacted, I'm a leader for my little neighborhood. It's only like 6 or 7 houses. And so far I have 2 people who have declined and 1 person who is, adamantly against it. And I just want to know how you handle that.
Roll with it. Anybody else have any other?
Yeah, I have done a lot.
Yeah.
I would just stick with the people that are interested and just use that energy there. And maybe eventually there's some osmosis and it might carry over to there, but I've got the same on my street. People that have lived there forever. So what if my house burns down? Okay, I'll be fine. I've lived through a good life. It's like, okay, so I understand the resistance.
Well, this one person was more about what are you really going to do if there's a fire? Are you and Diane going to come and save my pets? I mean, how are you handling this? And then she just felt like there was way too much information that we were asking her for. So.
Little bits.
So, yeah, so one idea is to just get an email address and hook them in a little bit with some information, let them know what you're up to, and then let it build. But don't let it dishearten you, just roll.
Okay, thank you.
I bet, and you're always welcome to come to office hours, which is tomorrow and always the 3rd Tuesday of the month. And that we love to work with people as you're coming across these kind of things that are hard, the challenges.
Okay, thank you.
So I think have we got everybody else up?
No, anybody else want to say hi?
Yes, hi, this is Jim Resnick. I'm in Benjamin Way, Cope. And we haven't really done anything this year yet. Usually we meet as a neighborhood in the springtime as a social get together and talk about things like fuel reduction and defensible space. But so far, the only thing that's happened is the trees have been falling over.
Thanks, Jim. Jim's also part of our Fern, our radio people. So thank you for that. All right, is that everybody else?
We have one more person.
Hi, this is Keith Roberts. I work for Supervisor Gore in the District 4 office, and I handle communications for the office, and I also work a little bit in fire recovery and resiliency for constituents that need assistance.
Great, thanks for being here, Keith. Appreciate it. All right, so it looks like we've got everybody on Zoom. And I'm going to turn it over to the activity for today.
Okay. Priscilla and the board and others have been involved in putting together a toolkit for community and neighborhood leaders. And this is part of a suite of different communication pieces that are being put together as support for new leaders, ongoing support for leaders. And so the toolkit itself is it's in draft form right now. You have a copy of a hard copy. When you are able to look at this online, there are actually live links as well that are embedded in it. We're now at the point that we'd like to get your input. Is it, what's great about this, what can be improved? So what we're going to do is split up into groups, including the online folks will be a group. And I have a kind of a little assignment sheet that will meet. Take 10 minutes. We'll meet. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We'll meet for 10 minutes within our groups. And I have almost enough time for everyone. I think of the assignment. So you'll work in your breakout group. You'll read through a section that you're assigned. The 4 sections. 3 here in the room and 1 for the people who are on Zoom. You'll read them through and then we'll report back to your idea. So none of us are familiar. So at the beginning, we're just asking you to summarize the most important information in the section you read, what you liked about the way the information was presented, and any changes or additions your group would have. And then we'd like you to lead the larger group, and there are a few questions here. Sort of best practices, like what experience does the group have? How have they done? What tips do they have around the topic? different area. And so think about the audience for this piece, as I was saying, I know that we're putting together some videos to help new leaders. There's a larger, handbook for leaders. It's quite long and really extensive, exhaustive, sort of in terms of what it covers. So this is I'm particularly excited about this because it's something you could give a new neighborhood leader. How we kind of, sometimes it's nice to have something you could give them that kind of feels like it gives some structure to what we're doing, but at the same time, it's not overwhelming. And I always felt that the handbook was a little bit long. And it's also something, if you're a group that's re-engaging or kind of refreshing, I think there are several ideas. Or you're a group, like some of ours that we've been trying to get going, there's some very specific implementation ideas about what we do.
This is in response to your survey that told us we need help with engagement.
Yes.
We need ways to help us figure out how to reach those neighbors that are hard to reach and are hard to keep engaged. So our hope is that this will fulfill some of that desire.
So one of the expected outcomes of that will eventually be released.
Okay, so we're gonna split into groups. Okay, we're gonna split into groups of around 5 people. So you all over there, you're going to have the pages 1 through 8 for the first section. Elsa, your group, you're doing next steps.
We're doing 9 to 12.
Exactly. And you all here in the back, you're doing staying connected, 13 through 8. And on this side, we're doing 19 through the very end, including page 26. So you all can kind of maybe arrange your chairs so you can talk to each other equally, either inside or pull them down. And in about 7 or 8 minutes, I get, oh, yes. You need to. Or you're free to put in. So if you can see inside it,
I did my. 707 327 0. When I see
So these are part of the actually.
yeah, I was so proud of myself for being that person. Yeah. Yeah. I have a ton of green money. I read on the website, and my spreadsheet and we work with none, would that do each time that, right?
Can you guys
Screenshot. Okay.
Yeah. What type of design, all of it. So, okay, so we wanted ideas for. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to?
Just put something on that.
This
idea was funny, the one.
Let me see.
Yeah,
And then you can put your phone number.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, awesome.
I got unmuted.
oh, yeah, that's too much. Yeah, that's too much.
Fix this.
Diana, which pages on there? One of them. I'm gonna write on here. Yeah. I've all.
So the first group is doing 1 through 9, 1 through 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that.
Oh, it doesn't say it on here.
Some of those areas.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
I would say.
And that's page 1 through 8.
So, yeah, these are.
Yep.
These are.
We are looking at
That's
the.
good.
Yeah, we got 2 blocks. We're in the base.
Yeah. 18,
Yeah, because it's small.
and then 19 through 26.
I mean, you could-
You okay? You need help?
They get all the, you know, answer about it, so they can't really hear me.
Do they hear each other?
Can you take off the owl for a minute and just be on your own computer?
Say that again.
I can't hear. I don't know if you can hear me.
I don't hear you well.
I can hear you, Holly, and everybody else.
Yeah, and everybody else.
I don't think this is gonna work.
It's still too much.
Also, where am I? Take a page and just mute it.
What is it?
Hear me right now.
Yeah.
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 I said better.
Well, this experiment might not work this time of night. Apologies, you guys, we're trying something new. and It looks like this doesn't work for this particular kind of activity, so stay tuned. In about 10 minutes, everybody will be reporting back to their section. This is a great time for a snack break.
Or can they report?
No.
See y'all in a minute.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share this toolkit with her. We're gonna sit down and talk about other leaders, make a plan to reach out, set a date for our community. Make sure they fill out. Yeah. Well, so then there's
Yeah.
So, and we want to know is, get report this out also, so we want to, it's not attached to something that. So this one. Yeah, it's not quite clear, but.
We should have.
And we think it our business partners and everything are gonna really get. Where did it share?
You're out of
I'm curious. When you're. Yes.
And that's exactly.
Yeah. Glad you expected your.
I don't know how many people you have.
Yeah, but I. And then when. I have to be reading that. But I have to do all the read after before you start again. At least five. Yeah. That is that easy for You know what Jerry do with me, and you know that, sir? Well, I did, yeah. Yeah, if you feel like that would be, I don't wanna take it like this and that.
This is. Some people train only that don't get to their. Other people train.
If you want more here. Let's do the better. We are not.
And that's very respectful.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I was saying myself.
So we're, group one. You can, Nancy has, you guys need to write, who's group one? They're right here. Oh, who's gonna be your scribe?
One.
Tom scribe. Okay, all right. Okay, scribe. Okay, can you also put right there? Yeah, somebody over here. Yeah,
So we went through, and mostly we were looking at, how this is made up to begin with, and if you're looking, okay, so what am I writing down?
Whatever your suggestions are.
Okay, well, there's just, I mean, it's, okay, so on page 3, I mean, do you really want to get down to the little semantics, like the word?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Like, what is your section? Like, what was your section?
oh, I'm so sorry, our section was page 1 through 8.
Okay.
So we had table content, which is very nice, I like that, and I do like the, I wish there were more downloadable clicks, so you don't have to enter all the tiny URL stuff for the, page 4, but I'll get to that. Okay, so,
Do you have the general, like, what was the most important information in your section?
Okay, the most important, I should do that. Sorry. Okay, most important information was trying to figure out the role of page 4. The first step, the click here issues, we were a little concerned, we're confused a bit to check our role of communities leader. So the role like the list, the roster, or the role, meaning what we do. And so Jerry looked that up, and it is indeed a roster that is. I'm gonna talk this.
Here, tell me what to,
Okay.
role.
So, yeah, so we were saying maybe click here to check our participating leaders and neighbors or neighborhoods. And so, yeah, and then it would be really lovely to have that tiny, the URL thing. I don't know if we can turn that into
The click here is a live link.
Okay, oh, it is on the.
Yeah,
website.
look
Okay,
where it says click here.
got it, okay.
And then that is there, so you have the whole
Okay,
thing
gotcha.
live.
Here,
Yeah.
I would like, where it says role, but the list of participating.
So just to clarify,
Yeah, gotcha.
what we decided was the way that you find out whether, first of all, you need to find out if there's a community that.
Yeah.
So you go to the map, or you can go to the list.
Okay, and Marshall had a good point that this is very fluid sometimes, and so it's the map maybe isn't always.
Right.
And that's on that page.
You right, well, and then also, okay, it does have, and then we were talking about on page 5 at the beginning, the Tuesday of every month, should be called, it's office hours, and it looks like it's all the info you need to start a program. I like the idea of having it also be called office hours, because that's something that you guys use, you can take that out because of that. You didn't want it to sound like that.
Because the people who were designing this with this thought that office hours, that nobody would understand what that was. Because it's so academic.
Okay.
So.
Okay, then
Trying
you
to
do your
get
thing.
those set and so that everybody would understand.
Okay.
what it was.
And it sounds like punitive, then like going to the principal or something. And then, page 6 was, yeah, really clear. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right there.
Page, no, we were gonna talk about it being office hours, like what
Oh,
is
yes,
that third
the
Tuesday?
office.
But
We call it
Yeah.
an intro session.
that's, that's great. And, yeah, so those are some of the changes.
We liked that on page 8, where you want to get to know your neighbors, connecting with your neighbors. All those good ideas, those are wonderful. The little, we've done that, give out candy canes at Christmas time with a flyer or, something like that. So, but I like the idea of handwritten notes, because people do respond to that. The wanted posters, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that didn't go down.
That would.
I got a target on my back on that street, so I'm okay.
Yeah, people either love it, so our group loved them.
Yeah.
Well, I think some communities it would be great. It wouldn't be good in mine because like they don't know their.
And yes, so I think. Yeah, I think that's.
Did you get the correction on page 3?
Yes.
Fires being.
So Walbridge fires, it should be Walbridge fire.
Walbridge fire, not fires.
Yeah. So
That was more.
but this is great. I love it.
They talked
Yeah.
about the 2019 Toolkit fire.
It should be singular.
It's either
Portion
no
of it.
fire after Toolkit or no S after.
Like the white trust coat.
Yes,
Do you think
yes,
that's a good thing
yes.
to have?
I do.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've had people, I've had one person tell me, I don't need you. I have my own way of getting in touch with people and I thought, well, we've got Marshall. How did you have anything better than?
I'll guard their phone calls from now on.
But that's, but that's, Shibley Road. It's a totally different personality.
Yeah.
They're kind of more independent.
Thank you. That was super helpful. This is why we want more eyes and her. Okay.
Thank you.
I also give a report back because we had technical difficulties with our online group. We're sorry, Zoom. You will figure this out.
Thank you. So we went over pages 9 to 12. And the first one, page 10, it talks about how you can start your neighborhood map. And we decided that it was not quite clear. And how we want to get started. So it tells you to sketch your map by hand and then finalize it with your local fire department. Well, we felt that it wasn't a clear, like this mug-up part. So that's one part of it. It also talks about how you can fill out the contact info form, contact us. Then on page 11, we have your neighborhood.
Wait, don't go back. I'm trying to take notes, we can have the draft redone.
So what part of that?
I think the main thing was there needs to be some clarification when it says share this with your people. Like who are you sharing it with? Everybody in the neighborhood, you go pass it around? Or are you having a small nucleus of people who you want to share that with while you're still at the planning stage? It just needed a little bit better wording there.
Okay, there's two different things going on here. One is identifying what your COPE community is. Geographically. So I would suggest that people find a map and draw where their COPE community is, okay? And then the second piece is to break it into neighborhoods, and that's the boxes down at the bottom. That's one example of how a neighborhood might look.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Does that help?
Yeah.
I love it. Or maybe adding a figure legend to that little diagram on the bottom. I think just highlighted.
So Marshall comes over, someone from the local fire department, they sit down with a map and they say, this is what we think Fitch Mountain is. And Marcia says, yeah, well, don't you think you should include, those hidden acre people? Whatever. And so then you start to draw your boundaries and you say, okay, this is gonna be our community that we're gonna call Fitch Mountain.
A larger community map as opposed to a neighborhood map.
And then within that, you're gonna do your neighborhood maps, and that'll be the leaders really sitting down and saying, oh, I'm gonna do Scenic Lane. That's gonna be my neighborhood.
Diana, I really like that. Yeah, community map, or. And then neighborhood map.
One of the questions I did have
community map.
Yeah.
Randy, does that help?
Yes. Sorry, I was muted.
one of the questions you have is, who are you talking to when you say show everybody the toolkit? So on the previous page 9, it says, okay, you've gotten some of your neighbors interested in forming a code. I assume that is your neighbors who are interested in your social business, everybody's. So maybe that's just a follow-up of the page, you could say something, show everyone who's interested, this toolkit.
Your first planning meeting, so is what.
Yeah, your planning group.
First planning meeting.
So maybe it's share this toolkit with your planning group. Maybe that's how you solve that. Whether to pass it out to the entire neighborhood or what, maybe it's a planning group.
Good word for final words. So what you did, like building off of that.
Yeah.
So this becomes your planning. And then you
And then get our boundaries.
Yeah.
Instead of getting.
Page
So page 9, this becomes your planning group.
And the other question we had was, if you continue on, it talks about getting your groups together for interim meetings. Winter, spring, summer, fall. We're wondering, does anybody have a feel for what the ideal thing is? Should it really be quarterly? Should it be once a year, pick a season?
What do you do, Jim?
Well, we're meeting twice a year, normally, and we just found that we're going to do 3 times a year, but we're meeting ourselves, I mean, we have people, don't get here already, part of it, so you like reminding them about their being prepared, using ready.
Yeah.
And then just kind of here to take it over and over again, so.
Twice a year.
Yeah.
I think you're meeting twice a year, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I do.
I think annual meetings are really kind of what we think people are doing, and if they meet more often, that's I see now.
So Nancy, so to answer your question is at least annually, and you may find that your group benefits from them twice a year.
Yes.
Opposed
By
to-
an annual meeting, do you mean everybody in the neighborhood or just your meeting?
No, I'm talking about as a community.
The whole
Yeah,
community.
because that's a hard pull. As far as leaders are concerned, I think that varies according to communities. So
Yeah.
we meet monthly,
Yeah.
which is, I think, is a lot.
Yeah,
So-
we meet once a year with the entire community, and we add one, maybe twice with the leaders. But we have a schedule of activities throughout the year that we do asynchronously as well, so for which we don't think, we just work on it.
So that means page 12.
So maybe the winter, spring, summer, fall makes it look like 4, even though it says once or twice a year. It looks like you're going for 4.
So maybe we need a different graphic there besides the winter, spring, summer, fall, something different to break up the bridge.
Yeah,
So revisit the.
thank you.
seasonal graphic.
This is super helpful.
Great. Okay, that's it.
Okay, the next, group 3.
Staying connected. Most important information in this section, I think what it was sort of meta information for us was the evidence that this is coming from experience. These are best. I thought they're describing for us. I can go into there. So this, it felt like best practices. This wasn't something that was written conceptually by people that hadn't done it. It was real.
Sorry. So the most important information in this section.
You're not alone.
Communication is key.
Communication is critical. I'll write this down later because I'll just mess me up trying to write it while I'm saying it.
Okay.
If I can write it while you're talking.
It's really not important. We'll get it. And you're not distracted either. You can help me.
Thank you.
We did concentrate quite a bit on number 2 on the, what you like about the information in this section and then any changes.
Okay.
The staying connected, it wasn't totally clear why hope training and the pets section, why that was staying connected. So that led to each page, it would be helpful if it tied back to, we're talking about staying connected here. So.
Okay, let me tell you what that's about and see if it resonates.
Good.
We thought one of the ways that people get hooked into cope or preparedness is because of their pets. So it was a hook. It was like, we can help you with your pets, being better prepared with your pets. That's where it came from.
I think just maybe a sentence that ties connection in with pets. Just one sentence.
So like, is staying connected the right handle?
Very
for
good.
that?
Right, we're talking about the overall section cohesion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but we're saying, so
Maybe it's not connected.
maybe it's not connection, maybe it's sort of something that conveys health in all the important areas.
Maybe your pet needs for you to be connected. It's.
Maybe you should bring your pets to a meeting.
Yeah.
Or each then page afterwards, a couple words that explain why that ties back to connection. Coach supports its leaders by making sure they stay connected.
Including their animals.
What about your animals? Your community members being connected together includes helping them take care of their pets.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, there's 2 streams of connection here. It's one, the COPE leaders connected to this community, so we can communicate back and stay connected to our neighborhood. So there's that thing of connection and this thing of connection. And to me, those are both important and they're both about communication and then resources and training and pets or whatever.
So this page really needs to be changed for a larger generic connection with animals as one would look harder. Would that make more sense?
I think each of them just needs a why we are calling this connected sentence up at the top.
You had
Right?
something, what
Yeah,
did you
it just needs a, so COPE training, training your community will help your neighbors stay connected to each other when they meet and get training. We're talking about animals together will help keep your neighbors connected to each other, or working together to make sure everybody knows what to do with their animals and you can support them will help keep you connected. But just like a sentence on each of those pages that,
What Barbara's saying, explain the connection.
yeah,
Yeah. And who's being connected?
Yeah,
Right.
And why it's really.
Cool. For that whole pitch,
So-
what's important.
For example, the code training page, if it's somebody just said, common understanding is, can come through training, and it results in better connection if everyone's using similar terminology, has similar expectations.
And to me also, the connection, staying connected is one of the ways that the COPE community stays engaged, and engagement is really key. I mean, if people get excited about it right after a fire, but then it's like, oh, I've had 3 years of it.
How about stay engaged instead of connected?
And then being
Yeah.
in connection and
Will
communication.
that cover all these and not have to be changed as much if we just change does that make sense?
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, well, I still think you want to talk about connection and communication as some of the majors.
And the pet work with engage or connect.
I think it works.
Engage, yeah.
Engage with your neighbors so you can protect your pet.
Yeah, I think it still needs a connector sentence on the pet page, because otherwise it's just a preparedness page. It's not a,
Yeah.
it's not a
There's
connection.
still the kind of a key thing about, well, pets were kind of being used as a way to hook people
Yeah.
in, just be more explicit about it.
Yeah, what the benefit is.
Another point from the pets page was, what if you're out of town? That's a concept that transcends the pet section. That ought to be brought up higher. But what if you're out of town applies to, is somebody gonna check on my house? What am I gonna do as a community or a neighborhood leader if I'm out of town and I can't help if there's an emergency? So I don't know whether there's a way to flesh that out more. That is something that people worry about. They go, I'm a co-leader. Well, when we're told to evacuate, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not standing around checking to see if people, gotten their shoes on and they're getting out of their house. Getting out myself. So
And at the same time, sometimes if you happen to be out of town, you could be most useful to call in and ensure everybody evacuates.
good point.
I think the topic of this communication when I'm out of town or where some other unpredictable scenarios happen should be addressed in something more of a communications protocol for the neighborhood. And I think that after the critical to be able to write something like that. We have created a draft that I want to share with Priscilla and the rest for I have like 5 different scenarios, whether it's fire, earthquake, or flooding, and whether there's a communication via internet or not, and then ways of whether the community leader is inside of the zone or not. And I think it would be elemental to be able to figure out what happens if I'm not enough help, and we can identify those communication protocols.
And are you suggesting though, that's not pertinent, that's not appropriate?
I think it's perfect for the pet specific
Yeah.
topic. I think because we're talking about, that happens with my horses if I would. But I also think that this, what's that?
We've got it here too. When the grid goes down, that's part of the training.
Right, but I also think that, I don't know how important it is to you, but to us, it was important to figure out, okay, if there is earthquake, and we know communications are down, and we know that somebody could be not there, what's the first line of communication, and who do we reach out for, right? Like, those things I think are a little bit more in detail than just.
Yeah, so that's that's that communication plan that we mentioned here. Yeah, good.
I probably should, get out of here. So I have time to get the next through.
We'll do the last group.
While Monique's walking up here, one thing that was mentioned by the group was that particularly if some of this or all of this is available online, it would be helpful for like the meetings and things that are referenced. If there is a specific day and time when those happen, that could be, it's hard to do that on a printed page because they can change and then you've got a whole lot of these that are no longer accurate. But the things that are online, if that kind of thing could be kept up to date, it'd be great to have those specifics there.
One last thing that might be, whether it's in this section or somewhere else, but I haven't seen it yet, or whether it's under COPE training or something else, is dealing with multilingual communities, and ours are small, but we still have that problem of really connecting in and getting those people connected into our community. People who are trying to understand.
Yeah.
So good news is the webinar is going to have Spanish interpretation as well, so you can pass that out to your neighbors to let them know that COPE is trying to get towards being more inclusive.
Right on.
Okay, we looked at the neighbor connection tools, pages 19 through 26. The most important information in this section for us was the fact that there are tools that can help you open, get your neighbor to open the door. This is specifically the printed cards. We thought that that was really important. And the messaging that it has. What we like the most about how the information was presented is that it is concise, it is cheeky, approachable, and it's easy to distribute in the way it was presented. Changes or additions that we would recommend for this section would be to make editable versions of all of these cards that were presented in that section, as well as printing and distributing them as much as wide as possible, either by empowering us to make our copies of distributing or making them available through newsletter. What is the most important information to share with leaders about this section? I think the most important bit is that it actually is really good about how to learn more. It tells you where to go to get more information and more details about it. How has your group been successful in the past conveying the type of information presented in this section? Well, for the group, we had updates saying that one-on-ones with your neighbors, as well as putting information at convenient places, such as, the mailboxes, has been really effective in distributing information like the one presented in those pages. Is there information in the toolkit that you will now put to action? Yes, definitely. The cards that say "call me because I'm your neighbor and I can help" are very useful. And the jury's still out and divided on the wanted signs. So it's quite helpful. I actually would like to hear what is making some of us feel that it's not as exciting. What could be the negative aspect of it? I want to know.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
what are you
weird.
looking at? You said
Hard turn on, like we shouldn't be using the one. Or is it's an option for those people that like it?
Yeah, I talked to the people that like it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I think about positive reaction either, and I'm not able to articulate that. Maybe like something, because wanted is negative. Yeah, yeah, thank you. What wanted is someone who's done something bad. And this is positive.
Yeah.
And we're approachable, and we're nice people, and we're looking for nice people. I don't know, something.
I completely understand, because if I see one more of those posters with the "we want you," I'm gonna freak out, right?
Yeah. Got it.
But I see what you mean with the possibilities of this being misinterpreted, especially because it has a connotation of not only bad, but violence and guns. I know that is not a positive message.
The first thing you see are wanted and reward. So right there, you're thinking, who's missing?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It gets your eye to look at it, right? Why did you want it?
So we could take out reward.
No.
Yeah.
I was a new person on the group who developed a wrong.
I'm gonna set it.
Yeah.
Put leaders first. Instead of wanted, but leaders wanted. Or something like that.
So maybe instead of want to put leaders and then down.
Or putting up the wanted.
You can still put wanted, but not the big,
I see.
the big print, maybe the understand part.
So I think this brings up a very good point. I just heard a comment about how neighborly relationships may be already on the rocks or something. And so one such sign may not be the most ideal representation. I can say that even for our area, we also have some, lawsuits pending. So I think it would be brilliant to maybe
modify the idea for something that is a bit more welcoming and pleasant, such as, we're looking for, or are you our leader, or something like that.
What about the Uncle Sam?
No.
Oh, that's.
Hold my ear.
Just leaders and then underneath put in needed.
Yeah. It's good now, here.
Yeah.
Some of the comments I kind of heard, and that's, but people nervous get involved or don't want to get involved, or feel like they take action during an emergency. Can we really emphasize this is all about pre-emergency, not about emergency response? Help us organize to be prepared. I don't know, some verbiage where people don't think they have to be there during the emergency or have to do something.
That's important.
Yes, yeah, that's really important. I have to always emphasize that the advantage is that you get to know your neighbors, and you and your neighbors can maybe work out a plan to evacuate together if you don't drive, or you and another couple, to have it like a little pod.
My scope's emphasis is on prevention and preparedness, not emergency response.
Which is what ours is too, with our preparedness. But my God, I think that's an issue.
And then there's also the issue that someone, your co-leader brought up, which is, what do you do with all this information? I mean, there are two parts of it, has this, and my opinion. Yeah. But they're two parts, one's a leader, so they know that they don't have to, we're not looking for them to be responders. And then also what we do with information and how to.
One of our neighbors had a gate and it broke. And so people are using that. You're the one that's on my road. So yeah, that was, that was part of it. But it's not, the information is not there to cause additional stress to any homeowner. Emergency. Yeah, exactly, and I totally said that, but
Great, this is very helpful to us, and we will definitely make some tweaks to this. Our goal is to, again, have that leadership folder that's on the Google Workspace, and you guys have access to all of this stuff. And our goal has always been to put it in there in a form that you can modify it to make it your own. So we'll try to keep doing that so that you can, any of these letters or the wanted poster or whatever you want to modify to make it your own, you can do that. But we'll also make some edits based on the folder. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. That was really
good.
Yeah, it's good.
I did a lot of work.
And if you do like the wanted posters, there are a few. So also if you want to take some part, I'll take over here, we just really start. So you're welcome to those supplies over here.
Do you remember what our topic is?
April is earthquake and something else. Earthquake and.
But I think that's changing.
Okay. Cool, so we're earthquaking in April. Thanks for coming, everybody. It's so great to see. Please take a little snack on the way out and there's all kinds of stuff here for you to take back to your communities and let us know what you need.
Okay, so the positive for real quick, I mean, I know we kind of focus on bad things, but I think, at least in northern Sonoma County, no one drove into flooded water. I know Laura has a situation, so, but I think in general, like, whether it's what Cope's doing or just the word getting out, the big thing is prevent emergency. I think that was huge. And for a while, I was emailing Diane, for a lot of the storm, we had everyone not calling in trees, and everyone was really being safe and not driving road, they didn't have to drive road, and really making it easy for us. Other parts of the county, I don't think have those same experiences. So I think that's a good thing about what Cope's doing, so don't lose sight of that. And then just going into the quote unquote summer fire season, the grant really helpful with everything too. It's gonna take a lot of warm, dry, windy weather to overcome all this moisture. It's not impossible, but the percentages, and we had no red flags last year, which and maybe we'll get the same fortune again. But just some big news.
Thank you. And I have to say to the merit of Marshall's continued communication and work with our board of supervisors, that the board of supervisors was very responsible, especially board's offices. We had a horrendous sinkholes that happened at the end of Mill Creek Road, and the county was in making changes and making sure that everything is taken care of within 24 hours. And so thank you for intervening on our behalf. But I think it's also to the merit of an organization like Hope existing, because we can very easily just call up and say, I am from the Mill Creek.
And I have one quick question. Some neighbors are asking me if there's gonna be evacuation drills this year.
Yeah, there's some plan. I know Sam's talking to me. I don't know anything Nancy about. There,
I mean, it's for the challenge, but I'm saying, yeah.
I have not heard anything for Fish Mountain. I know we talked maybe in Milford County, but probably the one like west of Lake Sonoma.
Okay.
Which very few people.
I don't know if it's.
But nothing's planned in any of the companies I know of. I know Fish wants to propose.
Okay, because I'm just.
And Mill Creek for June, yeah.
We can do it.
Then the snow event was kind of a cool thing, and I sent that text up there, everybody here not prepared for snow. No equipment for that, you can see the day home, and it was 3 days with all the trees falling down. Wow, good. Yeah.